Good morning, writers. Today is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. We're going to jump right into today's lesson. Fantasy fiction writing, how magic can help us. A couple of announcements. Your assignments due are last week's for 4:15, 4:16, and for today, 4:22. If you have not done your Hello Morning survey, pause right now and take 30 seconds to go complete your survey. Last class, we created a mood for our fantasy writing based on our setting. Today, we're going to look at how we can use magic to help solve the problems in our story. Writers use magic to help solve problems. In fantasy fiction, writers collect entries by thinking about realistic problems we see kids facing every day, such as moving to a new home or city, maybe going to a new school, teachers, bullying, siblings, things going on in the family. And so all these things can take on a magical element, right? We can fix these things if we had some type of magic. So in other words, what type of superpowers are you going to use that can help you solve the problems in your fantasy story? To do this, writers go through a few steps. We generate ideas about how magic can help us. We ask, how might magic make our lives easier? What about magic could make our lives easier? And when we create a list of ways magic can help us, we look over that list and then we pick one way magic could help us in our story. Have you seen these movies? Think about how magic was used in these movies to help solve problems. Take a few seconds to think about it. What about superheroes? Take a few seconds to think about how superheroes use their powers to help them solve problems. I'm going to model this thinking for you. I'm going to try these steps out. I'll move this over here so we can see our steps as we write. Now, we think about how magic helps us, or, right? What can we do with magic? What can we use it? And we ask, how might magic make our lives easier? What about magic could make our lives easier? Well, of course, it could help us solve problems. Magic can help us do things we may or may not be able to do. How can I write that? Such as open a door, turn on a light, etc. So we may have some type of physical disability where we can't do these things, or we are at a distance and we can use magic to turn on a light if we're not close enough to a light switch. Magic can help us, it can help us create things we might need, so I can make something appear. For instance, if I needed a bow and arrow so that I can fight off my enemy, then I can use magic to create a bow and arrow. Magic saves us time. It saves us time because we can make things quicker and do things faster. We can get to places faster. We don't always need someone else's help if we have magic, because we have magic to do what we needed to do. And then magic makes us look cool. People like cool people. Ha ha ha. That's funny, right? So after I have came up with a few things, then I look over my list and I pick one way that magic can help me solve problems in my story. So pick one way magic can help solve problems in our story. So I decide I want to roll with, I'm looking over my list. I want to use magic to help save time. Based on my story, the setting in my story, and the problems in my story, I want to use magic to help to save time. Remember, if you recall in my story, how I said that the girl, she's on a mission. Dakota, she's on a mission and she has to look for all these different signs and in order to get to the place where she's supposed to go to find out what it is she's supposed to do for her life path. And so she'll use magic to save time to get her to travel to places and to make things that she'll need according to what the signs tell her. And after I have done that, now that I know I'm going to use magic to save time, I go to my writing, to my story, and I start to build the story behind how I'm going to use magic to save time. So I may start to tell the story of all the things she's going to do, and then I introduce how she's going to use magic to help her save time. So now you're going to try this. You're going to go to Google Forms, and your assignment for today is how magic helps us. Once you finish the form, there are questions in there. There's some video clips in there you're going to watch and respond to the questions for those video clips. And then you're going to come up with some ways on how you can use magic in your story, and then select one way you're going to use magic or how magic will help you in your story. And then you go back to your writing and you start to incorporate magic into your story. As always, if you have any questions, you can call, text, email, or G chat me.